This country has been divided before, but the level of division now has heightened beyond measure. Today, people have become very sensitive to tribal, regional, and partisan divisions. As a country that has got its fair share of challenges over time in relation to civil war and what have you, I believe that these elections are very, very crucial to sustaining the nation's peace and, of course, prosperity. We are a nation that is actually encumbered with a number of challenges. Over time, we have had this nation fragmented along regional, tribal, and partisan lines. And that actually threatens the health and well-being of our country. And that is why these elections, the outcome of these elections, will be very, very fundamental to sustaining our country's future, our country's health and well-being. Yes, that is of course the background upon which I actually initially said these elections are very crucial to the health and well-being of our nation. We have seen over time our country degenerating into violence and other antisocial ills. And as we go into elections, the tendency for violence to erupt does exist. We have seen a nation that has been highly polarized. We have seen people have taken sides, either based on tribes, based on religion, based on region, based on political party affiliations, and what have you. And these are very, very sensitive early warning signs. And a nation that is seriously divided in such a way has a tendency of degenerating into chaos. And we have seen the signals. Before now, we have had clashes of between people and between the citizens in certain areas of the country and security forces. We had what happened in McKinney, where citizens actually resisted the security forces, and some of them were killed, some of them maimed. We had what happened on August 10, where citizens took to the streets, and we saw the mayhem that was actually occasioned in the course of that. Over 20 people lost their lives, and the security forces included. So having that, after the war, we have never experienced such a situation in this country where people will take up to the streets and such an uprising. So it's towards any astute observer, we're very concerned to as we march into the elections, that these are issues that, if not treated with care and caution by authorities, of course, political leaders, our country has a tendency of actually melting into chaos and anarchy. I think it's a very serious concern for us as a nation. Whilst we will not actually erase the importance of the two major political parties in our political system, but I believe in a multi-party democracy there is need for more political parties to be provided with the scope and latitude to be able to act and to conduct their activities freely, and to be supported to actually have the space wherein people have alternative choices. Over time, since independence, we have had APC and SNP ruling this country. But the question people want to ask is, where are we? Are we satisfied with the current state of affairs? These two political parties have always been at the helm of affairs. They have been running this country for the past 61 years, and we still continue to grapple with challenges that most countries in our neighborhood here have even long past. We still have issues of electricity supply. We still have communities. A huge chunk of our communities in this country cannot boast of clean drinking water. We still have people who live in squalor, a nation that is blessed beyond measure with mineral resources. We have gold, diamond, bauxite. We have beautiful beaches. We have beautiful mountains. We have the land, arable land for cultivation of agricultural products. But we still continue to wallow in lower rungs of human development index. We have these two political parties at the helm of affairs. Some decades ago, we had one or two political parties venturing to come very close to winning elections, to get for smart and what have you. But we saw how they all melted into thin air, and now we cannot even talk about them again. So we are looking forward, as civil society activists, we are looking forward to a situation wherein the people will be afforded the opportunity to actually make choices out of multiple political parties that we presented to them, because it's becoming a cliche. The APC and SNP stuff is becoming a cliche to most people, most progressive minds. And that is why people are very disenchanted that a third force that was actually building steam has actually disintegrated into something that could be seen as, I don't know, it's unfortunate. The NGC under Kanda Yum Kela, most people were very hopeful that Yum Kela is some kind of a beam of light at the end of the tunnel, that a third force is emerging that will actually take its rightful place in the political landscape of our country. So for us to start seeing them meddling again with these two meddling into the activities of the old grand political parties, the SNP or so, is becoming a very serious challenge for us. Civil liberties are it's one of the fundamental rights that our institution is actually established to protect. There are challenges, I must say. The 1965 Public Order Act that has been amended by this administration, which before now was used to suppress dissenting views, and of course particularly journalists and civil rights activists who actually were very vociferous on issues of governance and what have you. But we also see on the other hand another legislation being established, the cyber crime and what bill or act that has been established quite recently, which to most of us is an extension of the 1965 Public Order Act, because it is used to gag to censor the public space, to actually limit the operations of people, especially people practicing journalism and what have you. So to me, we have seen how people have started being victims of this cybercrime bill. Quite recently, there was a female activist, Zainab Sharif, who was arrested for coming out and speaking loudly on burning issues that actually touch and concern citizens, issues around human rights, the poor state of affairs in the country. She was arrested and detained on account of that, using the cyber law, what have you. To me, that particular legislation, if not actually taken, if not treated with care and caution, has a tendency of undermining civil liberties in the country. this current government should actually improve on, firstly, unifying this country. This country has been divided before, but the level of division now has heightened beyond measure. Today, people have become very sensitive to tribal, regional, and partisan divisions. And if we are to move as a nation, there is need for the leadership to actually put mechanisms in place to unify this country by way of making everybody in this country feel belong, to actually enjoy the opportunities that this country affords its citizens in terms of jobs, in terms of, you do not need to know the president, you don't need to know the minister, you don't need to know a police officer or a judge to have your case or to have your rights or to enjoy the opportunities in this country. But that's sadly what we currently face in this nation. Jobs are being awarded, jobs are being given to people who are either political party stalwart or who come from a particular region. You see, the entire workforce has been dominated by political stalwarts and what have you. You see, our forces, the security forces, can no longer be professional in most of what they do. And that is why there has been a serious breakdown in trust from the public. And that is why most times they face stiff resistance from the people, because the people no longer trust the security forces to actually dispense their functions with the level of professionalism that is needed. They are now, of course, referred to as regime officers. As soon as the regime changes, you see them changing their mode of operation. You look at the judiciary. Sadly, most people do not have trust in our judicial system because they believe that the judiciary plays on the lap of the executive. The executive determines what happens in the judiciary. A lot of these things have actually undermined even the progress and the prosperity of our country, because most investors will find it difficult to come to a country where the security sector is not actually guaranteed. The security is not guaranteed. Anybody can just wake up in the morning and then there is an uprising and you have their businesses collapsing. Where the judicial system, where people cannot actually go to the court and be assured of justice in an instance wherein they are wronged in the process. So businesses, credible businesses, will find it very difficult to come to a country like that. And these are some of the factors, these are some of the challenges we have. So today we have a lot of social challenges from people, the citizens, the youth, taking the law into their hands because, due to hardship. We have economic challenges because we do not have businesses that will provide the jobs, that will provide the resources, the economy for the people to actually thrive. All of these things have strings attached to a lot of other sectors. So to me, the fundamental thing that government should actually embark on is to unify this country and to provide that space where every citizen will realize their full potential. Looking at if we are to judge them by the current state of affairs, I would say if I am to grade them on their performance for the past 5 years, I would say it will be very abysmal. They have failed on a lot of indicators. They have not lived up to the expectations of the people. The APC was dumped by citizens. APC was denied the power. APC was voted out on several grounds by citizens. Citizens had high hopes that their living conditions will be improved under this government. That this government will actually solidify this country's unity and peace. That there is going to be respect for the rule of law. That human rights will be actually respected and held to the highest of levels. But if we are to actually grade them on all of these issues, today the level of hardship has quadrupled. We have today the cost of living has actually deteriorated tremendously. We have people that cannot even feed their homes. We have the level of unemployment is growing at a breakneck speed. Not to talk of underemployment. There are people who are even in employment who cannot even take care of their families with the salaries they receive because it is laughable. You have a country that is still enmeshed in corruption, high-level corruption. Look at the audit reports that have been published for the past 2 to 3 years. We saw an auditor general who was sent on leave, very unfortunately, simply because of the audit report she has been releasing. We continue to see breakdown in trust for state institutions. We continue to see people losing hope in their country. So to me, if we are to grade the current administration, it will be a fail mark. It will be below 50. I will give them 30. And 30 is not a very good mark for somebody to proceed to the next level. Priority of the new government is to actually depart from most of the things that this government did. Try as much as possible within that first 100 days not to vilify your opponent, not to create a hostile environment where people will start feeling left out, where it will be like a winner takes it all. That winner takes it all mentality has actually not helped our country. Unify this country along regional, tribal, and political lines. The time for politics should be over. What we experienced in these 5 years was consistent politicking and not governance. There is a time for politics and a time for governance. Currently, we now have a period of politics. You go out there, you campaign, talk on the issues, you attack the other party on what they have not done, you bring in your own initiatives. But after that, when you win, what we expect is to start the job, take the responsibility of unifying this country, bringing people together and work on building a very strong economy. This is a country that has huge potential of developing its people through the resources that we have. So for us to always make excuses that we are not exporting, we are not this, we are not mining companies, we not have mining companies, we have industries, we should ask ourselves the question: why do we continue to experience these situations? There are countries that do not have the resources that we have, but they are doing very well. We have these resources. It has to do with leadership. How much trust have you actually given out there to the public, to the international community, to business community to come into your country and invest? It is only when the people have trust in your system that they will come and invest, and you will have mining companies. So to me, there is a need for the next government to prioritize unifying this country, developing the economy, very strong economy. And then they will have gone a very long way to address the issues and respect the rights of people. Respect the rights of people and ensure that you give institutions the independence that they deserve. To be honest with you, I wonder whether we have any Sierra Leonean that would want to actually think, or that would be very honest to say the elections will be very free and fair. There is that doubt in the minds of a host of Sierra Leoneans that the elections will never be free and fair. Several reasons could actually be attributed to that. We still continue to have an institution that mans elections that is seriously compromised. They receive their resources, they receive funds from the central government. They are appointed. Most of the appointees in the National Electoral Commission or Election Commission for Sierra Leone are appointees from the President, State House. And there are rumors that, in fact, most of the people who have actually constituted the Electoral Commission, the commissioners, 90% of them come from one region. And there are rumors that most of these people are political party stalwarts. That's another issue. We saw the challenges in the registration process, where people, a huge chunk of the population, was deprived to register, especially first-time voters, due to a lot of strategies that they actually implemented, especially here in the Western area. So to me, we hope to have a free and fair elections, but we are not oblivious of the challenges that have characterized the entire process, because it's a process from registration onto the point where we are today, counting days, limited days now into elections. We hope and pray that the Electoral Commission will prove us wrong, will prove Sierra Leoneans wrong at the end of the day, but we must make it very clear that we are very mindful of the challenges, we are very mindful of the tendency of the ECSL not living up to the expectations of the people. And that will be very, very much unfortunate, I must say, because the future of our nation, the peace and the prosperity of our nation largely depends on the outcome of this electoral process. There is a tendency that this country will degenerate into chaos if the electoral process is not peaceful, is not transparent, is not free and fair. No, most Sierra Leoneans have actually resolved that they will take the law into their hands if there is any tendency of rigging. And to us, that is where we use this opportunity to always admonish people who are at the helm of affairs, especially election management bodies, including the police, the judiciary, and of course NEC, PPRC. You see all of these institutions, even PPRC cannot actually go without very suspicious, they have suspicious activities. Yeah. So to us, we believe that they owe this country a cosmic duty to maintain the peace and sustain and ensure that this country does not degenerate into chaos and anarchy in this election.